Vyacheslav Matuzov, president of the Russian Society for the Promotion of Friendship and Business Ties with Arab Countries, who is going to explain to us what really is going on in the diplomatic world regarding Syrian issue.
Of course, we are very much were surprised when we heard a new position of Kofi Annan when he arrived to the United States. First of all, he declared the necessity to respect the deadline, and he stated deadline is April 10. Of course, during 1 week, all issues, complicated, hot issues of Syrian situation should be settled, and withdrawal of heavy weaponry and army units from cities in Syria, it means a great step from the Syrian authority. But I didn't hear any move of any pressure that was addressed to the opposition leaders, because at the same time, opposition declared their readiness to intensify its military work, that without military actions they cannot achieve their political goals in the country, and political goals, it's overthrow the current Syrian authority. It's a natural position because one-sided orientation of Kofi Annan pressure is a surprising step. But anyhow, now we are watching the situation in reality because Russia agreed. We, as a permanent member of Security Council, it's agreed with Kofi Annan's suggestion. Syrian government agreed with his deadline, 10th of April too, and now Syrian government began withdrawal of heavy weaponry with all hot places in Syria, from Homs and other cities. But I can say that intensifying supply for military ammunition and financial support from Western countries, from some Arab Gulf states, that's what is working against Kofi Annan's mission. And flexibility of Syrian government position, Russian position, that agreed and stepped down from their persistence on no deadline. That means that Russia and Syria are ready to accelerate the political solution in Syria. But when we watch the United States position, that is main standpoint of in negotiation process, we found out that it is multi-filed position. We hear from Mrs. Nuland from State Department a declaration that the United States doesn't agree with military intervention into Syrian affairs, that the United States doesn't support supplying weaponry to opposition leaders and military groups in outside Syria and inside Syria. But at the same time, American allies like France, like Saudi Arabia, like Qatar, like Turkey, who is an active member of NATO organization, declared a contrary position. So where is the real face of the United States position? If it is only Mrs. Nuland declaration or combined positions of all United States allies in the region of the Middle East and in Europe. If we think over position of some Gulf states that are openly declaring their readiness to send weapons to Syria, they sent $100 million to Syrian insurgents. So they found out that without American approval, without American support, they cannot take such kind of position. That means that multi-faced American position, multi-variant, open all variants for development political situation in the Middle East surrounding Syria, and the United States, in this case, doesn't demonstrate their readiness to influence positively on the situation in Syria. They don't want to achieve agreement with Syrian government. Till now, the United States has a sole goal to reject legitimacy of Syrian authority. It is not the base of any political solution. It cannot be accepted as a base for Kofi Annan's mission that is have on the fundamental problem here, the question there, it is a negotiation between legal authorities and opposition leaders. So America doesn't accept principle of political solution in Syria. And what, in spite of the fact they're speaking some acceptable things officially from State Department, White House, but we know that through other political instruments in the area, through their position of their allies, they are pursuing some different policy, some different goals, not negotiate, but to fight a current Syrian authority. I think it is the main problem for Kofi Annan's mission. It is not Syrian government position, not Russia, but the United States and their ally in Europe and in the Middle East. The meeting in Istanbul, friends of Syria, they said, but in reality, now we read in world media that Syrian National Committee is not unified. They don't agree with the groups acting on Syrian soil. And some groups that operating inside Syria doesn't agree with the position of Syrian committee accepted as a sole representative of Syrian opposition in Istanbul. And they even declared they are representing a Syrian people. That is unnatural, of course, because some isolated groups located and living in the Western countries cannot be accepted as representative of Syrian people. Syrian people live in Syria. That is the first. And the second, it is no unity between them. And people inside the country doesn't accept the position of those who are gathered in Istanbul. So when we watch on this development, we found out there is no a single and whole role and leadership in this organization. We can see that this organization is multi-faced too. And there are even some Islamic fundamentalists are present there, and even more Salafists and Qaeda elements who are rejecting collaboration with others and have absolutely different approach to the future of this country. That's why we can say that to accept opposition leaders as one political body that are ready to negotiate, it is a mistake. It is not true, because we are obliged to deal with different factions in this organization. And each faction has its own view on future development in Syria and future development on negotiations. So I think that all efforts, American efforts, to unify opposition nears and to make them more acceptable from the international point of view doesn't come to success, because till now we are facing the situation where all these leaders are separated, not having the unified political position, and that's why we are now can say that main difficulty not from Russian, Syrian and side. Demonstration of deadline, it means only one signal, that Syrian government, Russia, and even Kofi Annan are ready to cooperate to achieve political goals. And other side, opposition forces and United States as a main sponsor of opposition in this country cannot come to the conclusion of necessity to intensify political process. Till now, their consideration is based on military solution, not political.
Our guest speaker was Vyacheslav Matuzov, president of the Russian Society for the Promotion of Friendship and Business Ties with Arab Countries.